You're watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the February 9th meeting of the Michigan City Board of Aviation Commissioners. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Commissioners' monthly meeting agenda for February 9th, 1:13 p.m. Call to order. Members present, we got Greg Poulin, Kurt Hunter, myself, Jeff Bartlett, Michigan City Airport Manager Jessica Ward, EF&S Paul Schaefer. Then we also have Michigan City Council Airport Liaison Gene Simmons. We have a quorum. Members absent, we have T.Y. Okeson. And we also, we have Mr. Mayor Perry. Reading of the
Administrator Chris Yagowski.
Okay, thank you. Reading of the minutes, did we get a chance to see January 12th regular minutes?
I did. I didn't see any problem with it. I move that we accept the meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
I second. All in favor?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Reports, financial.
Sure. So account balances, I gave everybody a copy of our current account balances report. And there's no issues with any of our account balances at this point, just 2 months into the year. I did add at the bottom of the report all of our encumbrances from 2022. I thought that'd be good information for everybody to have to know where they stand. So far with Ramsey Sheet Metal, that was closed on 2/9/23 with this claims docket. They got done with the hangar door repair. And so we have our open encumbrances are for our SRE building, which is the $394,813. Our above ground fuel farm, $800,000. Our hangar lights, $3,438. And then the raised grant benefit cost analysis for $15,440. So that's what we have open right now. We also have our bill fed law local match for the $7,950 under our airport project, so you guys can see that.
All right, thank you. January 2023 fuel sales.
Sure. Overall, we sold 357.3 gallons of 100 low lead, 240 gallons of Jet A, and 178.1 gallons of Swift fuel in January. What a terrible month January was for flying weather. It was either overcast or high winds. The whole month. So our current fuel prices are $5.23. That's for full service avgas, $4.78 for self and full service Jet A, and $6.75 for self service UL 94. Our full service avgas is 92 cents less than LaPorte, $1.22 less than Porter Regional, and our self service Jet A is the same as Stark County. Full service Jet A is 87 cents less than LaPorte and 70 cents less than Porter Regional.
Excellent. Still very competitive. Thank you.
Can I ask a question, Jim? How's our fuel right now?
Just like levels or?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, our fuel, it's great. We don't need, I think our next flow that we're probably gonna have to get will be Jet A again, especially as soon as they start up their operation over there with skydiving. Swift fuel, we're sitting at about maybe between a quarter and a third of a tank of that, so I'll be ordering that pretty quick here. I'm hoping the price on that doesn't increase because it increased a lot to $6.75, as you remember. And avgas, we're sitting at about halfway full for our underground tank there.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for finances. Airport manager.
So we have, let me see. What do we have? So our records request for IDEM for the upcoming UST inspection. I think you got that email as well. They sent it to both you and I. I'm currently gathering the paperwork that's requested for our upcoming UST inspection. They said it's going to be within the next 90 days. So our Northern Indiana Mechanical, they service our tanks here, which everybody knows. So they're going to be submitting a lot of paperwork as well for our upcoming inspection. And it needs to be submitted by Tuesday, which is in the 15-day window that they give me for document submissions. Which moves you into Northern Indiana Mechanical UST equipment testing. They did just come out last week to do a 3-year inspection. And the 3-year inspection includes hydrostatic testing of all the containment sumps, spill buckets, and overfill prevention inspections. They did the annual walkthrough inspection of the fuel systems and completed an ATG functionality report to prepare us for our upcoming inspection as well. So I'm waiting on their information, and then all the compliance paperwork is going to be submitted to IDEM.
Excellent, thanks. 2023 hangar inspections.
I'm going to be conducting hangar inspections the spring, summer this year to make sure that all the hangars have an airworthy aircraft front and center, as well as all the other requirements that are set forth in our hangar inspection policy. I've been getting quite a few calls lately about people that are needing hangar space, so I've kind of compiled a list for the tenants that have hangar space to just let them know that there's a waiting list and these are the people they can call if they do have a space that does become available. So I have to contact all the hangar owners within 30 days of the inspection, to let them know we'll be inspecting, and they have 30 days to give me a date and time that they're available for our inspections.
Did you get through them all last year?
Last year I did not do them because of COVID.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So this will be the first year post-COVID.
Thanks, Jessica.
Sure.
Airport development.
Yeah, you should have a report there. I've got actually really the only action item today is the, we've had it on the agenda a few months, that Leslie property right away, which this is we believe a no cost scenario for you. I included in the agenda that was submitted out to the board a picture of the spot, but basically there's some of their parking lot that encroaches on the airport, but we need some of the right of way along the road for the road lowering project down the road. So the proposal would be just to swap those properties. And so the legal descriptions were all drafted when we did the Tone and Blank and the Olmsted acquisition, so we have that all already written. So most of that surveying and property work has been done. We just need to go ahead and get that finalized. So talking to Bill Nelson here recently, he has some time in the schedule. It looks like we have some funds available to do that. So we thought we'd move that forward if it pleases the board.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and begin negotiations with Leslie for the right of way.
Do I have a second? Second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay. The rest of the items on your report are just kind of FYI. We've got the one grant still open, which is the AIP 25 grant. You'll see there we've got a $22,000 balance in that while we wait on your program manager, Joe, at the FAA to finalize the final pay request on it. We do have that in there. As soon as he gets done with his audit, then we'll close that and draw down that final amount. On the runway project, as you all know, we're kind of, besides the Leslie property, we're kind of out of things to do right now because we've checked all the boxes from the FAA standpoint. We've got the airport layout plan approved, which is an FAA requirement. We've got the environmental document approved, which is also required. The runway length justification report is approved, and the runway protection zone study that was required is also approved. So we've got all of those preliminary hurdles done. So now we just need money. And the FAA is a little strapped for cash on the discretionary end of things right now in the state of Indiana because of some larger projects at the air carrier. So we're just waiting in line. We have been looking at other alternative funding operations, and that RAISE grant that we've talked about could be a possibility, but we don't want to go too far down that road unless we know that it would be successful. So that's what that's all about, and we don't know that. Katie is going to look at some numbers and try to put them all in the formulas and see where we're at. So that's where we're there. The snow removal building, that's being paid for with your bipartisan infrastructure money and some of the riverboat money and the appropriation from the council that they've graciously made, has been underway. We have a construction contract signed with them. And they are through the state design release, so that means the building plans have been approved by the State Department of Homeland Security. They've come back, now they're at the local permit level. There is an issue with possibly the setback, so we may be shifting the building to the east 10 to 20 feet, probably closer to 20 feet. So that should still provide adequate space, because if you'll recall, we had that driveway and a turf area between, so it's just gonna take up more of the turf area right there.
Closer to the parking lot.
Yeah, it'd be closer to the maintenance building, yeah. We had the front of the building in line with the parking lot,
Right.
so that the parking lot can kind of be extended straight in front of it. And now it will be around 15 to 20 feet to the east of the western edge of the parking lot. So there'll be a little stagger, but the ultimate is we're gonna fence that and try to put that all inside the fence anyway, so there'll be a fence through there, so I don't think it'll really matter on the flow of the parking lot that much.
Sounds good.
Okay. So once we get that done, we'll finish up the local permitting. New Tech does plan to break ground on or around April 3rd. So the substantial completion date is September 30th. So the goal is to have you a nice building, get all your equipment moved over before next winter. The fuel farm, you'll recall, we're having some issues with the fuel farm, and I suspect that the inspections, the 3 year inspections, will reveal more issues with the fuel farm. But, so we've been limping this along for quite a while. The City Council did make this emergency appropriation-ish on the fuel system, but it is contingent upon us having the bipartisan funds to come back and pay back that program. And so before we get too far down the road, the next step was to submit that to FAA to confirm eligibility. When we went and got the council appropriation, we did get Baker Tilly's opinion, we got our opinion, and we also pulled out the bipartisan infrastructure frequently asked questions that said fuel farms are eligible and that we can pay back the riverboat funds and so forth with the bipartisan money when it comes in. So we've checked those boxes, but we kind of want to make sure that there isn't some detail that disqualifies it, because they get kind of funny when it comes to fuel farms. So we went ahead and put the application together. We're going to wait until we get in writing, yes, this is a go, before we actually spend any money on it, to make sure that the city gets paid back.
When do you think our next follow-up is? I know it says that you guys, January 5th.
Yeah, so actually that wasn't, so Andrew followed up this last week, and Joe did respond back and said, I'm checking on that. He's trying to get the grant written for the snow removal building before he pushes on that too hard. And the snow removal building, actually, the upper echelon pushed back on that a little bit, saying, hey, you're only eligible for 1,600 square feet, or 2,000 if you've got 2 pieces of snow equipment. And I said, well, the issue is the locals are paying the majority of the bill on this.
Yeah.
So the FAA share of the building is only 27%. And if you do the math, 27% of the square footage prorated to the cost of the building is only 1,400 square foot. So we're well below the square footage that the FAA would pay for. And Joe's like, okay, yeah. So he's pushing that through. As soon as he gets done with that, he said he's going to push on the fuel system.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Yeah, and that's everything that we have. There's been a lot of activity on Aviation Indiana from a legislative standpoint. I'd love to share with you, but I don't want to take up meeting time. But if there's some time at the end and you guys want to talk about that, we can dive into that.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yep.
Completes airport development, old business. With the 40 acres cash farm lease.
Sure. So Larry Smith from Holderman Real Estate and Farm Management reached out to our current farm operator that's farmed the airport-owned property south of the airfield for the last quite a few years to discuss a 2023 cash farming lease agreement. The farmer offered $45 per acre this season. The 2022 rate was $35, so that's a modest increase due to current commodity prices. It is less than most area land rents because the access to ours is not great, as we all know, and it likely will not be accessible enough for other farm operators. I did tell Mr. Smith that our extension plans at the current time will not inhibit them to farm this year, which they were concerned about, and likely not in 2024 either, so they'll probably get one more year too. But I said I wasn't able to project past 2024 farming season. So Mr. Smith has written up the lease agreement. It's in the process of getting a signature from the farmer before it comes to the board for approval, likely our next meeting. And I've circulated the current lease that's waiting on the farmer's signature to the board, so everybody's been able to take a look at that. It is the same lease as last time. The only issue we had was, if you remember, the farmer crossed out the attorney fees, and we said that that wasn't acceptable, that was gonna have to be in there, and so that was the only change. And then remember, he accidentally signed under lesser to the lessee.
Okay.
So that's being sent over to him, and he's gonna get signature on that. And I let him know that that was non-negotiable, to change the attorney fees section of that, so it should be ready for our next meeting.
Excellent, okay. Well, thanks. Any new business?
Claims stuff here.
Okay, claims docket.
The only thing that was really of note was the repair on the door.
And that was from an old encumbrance, remember, from
Right. Yeah.
2019, so that didn't come out of our current budget.
I'll make a motion that we approve the claim docket for $12,726.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Discussion? Any opposed? Claims docket is accepted. All right, I think that concludes that. We have some guests here today. Open up the floor to public comment.
Just a few items if I may.
Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
Regarding the runway extension project and how you mentioned it's slowing down. Recently I've had some conversation with our sanitary district attorney, Jim Meyer, and because they have to do some associated work, you know. He indicated that he's aware that there's another grant available that is not quite as attractive as the 90-10 that you have, but may be accessible much quicker. It's 80-20. So I'll keep you advised. I asked him to research it for us.
That'd be excellent,
It
yeah.
would really be nice to break ground and get that thing done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for that. That would be helpful.
And then the only other item I had, and I wanted to discuss briefly the question that we've had over the courtesy vehicle. I don't know if you've seen it. I think the airport manager Ward said that she had not. This form that your attorney, Bill Nelson, submitted, and it's been redlined and some modifications made by the city's attorney, Ms. Amber LePage Stallbrick. I'd like to leave that with you so that we can start to move forward on that.
Appreciate that, yeah.
I was a little bit concerned because the initial information that I got, it sounded like it was pretty much a grab the keys and go situation, and I had visions of the mule,
Yeah.
the user of the van going up in Michigan and coming back with a a van full of marijuana getting pulled over in the
On the hook.
it works accessory to a crime, you know? It was a little bit upsetting. Now, I think if we work this thing out right, we can probably move forward with it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary.
And I think Chris has on the same subject, Chris has had discussion with Clarence Halls, our Economic Development Corporation Director, because we had suggested an Uber situation or have an arrangement with Enterprise for them to have a vehicle here, which then all the maintenance and everything would be theirs and not ours. But Chris had, I think Ms. Ward mentioned something about economic development, and Chris had a conversation which he can elaborate on with Clarence Halls about what their involvement would be, not for anyone that lands in our airport, but any entities interested in development in Michigan City, that they would become financially involved and possibly foot the bill for the transportation.
Okay.
So in talking with Clarence, he said that he had no idea that there was a van that was associated out here at all, so he was kind of surprised
Yeah.
at that. However, he said he would never allow somebody to come in and not pick them up, escort them to whatever properties they wanted to look at. Of course, that's his job. But secondary is that he would gladly support an Uber situation if necessary for that person to stay the night or go for dinner or whatever they might do. But he never even knew the van actually existed out here for any kind of purpose. So as far as he's concerned, he would rather look at it as him picking somebody up directly and or renting an Uber for them to go back and forth with.
Yeah.
So we can lighten your burden a little bit, that's what we like to see.
Yeah. I know with the airport vehicle, I travel extensively all over the world, and I've traveled for corporations, Part 135 charter, and that's just a common courtesy that every FBO has as a vehicle for people that come in there and want to get a hamburger or get some fuel. So hopefully we can have that.
I don't understand all the terminology in your industry,
Yeah.
but I did make some calls to airports. I found 3 that did not, and 5 that did, with, I think it's on the back of this, with varying conditions. Evansville, Griffith, and Bloomington do not have courtesy vehicles, but, oops,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
There you go, the teamwork. But Anderson, Columbus, Kokomo, and Valparaiso do. Now, Kokomo, I like what they said, they have a copy of the driver's license, a 2-page form that's filled out stating that the airport has no liability whatsoever.
Yeah.
So and that's basically what we want to do
And
here.
that's good. Anything that can protect us, our liability, I support that 100%. So, yeah.
And on Evansville and Bloomington, so they have multiple FBOs, which FBO stands for fixed based operator.
Mhm.
It's just a fancy term for somebody it's a private company who sells gas on an airport. And so that private company, both of those locations have a courtesy car. So, and like Michigan City is the FBO, you sell your own fuel, there's no private company. And so that's kind of the distinction there with those other airports too, they are their own FBO. So basically, and this gentleman's from AOPA, the airport, like
Owners and pilots association.
Airport Owners and Pilots Association, they represent airports all over the country, like how many, probably 200,000 members or so. So anyway, this courtesy car is usually a courtesy of whoever sells the gas. So that's the car is associated with the gas provider, generally speaking.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so.
But as long as the airport's protected in the city of Michigan City, that's all I absolutely care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is probably a good chance for me to introduce myself and clarify a couple things. I'm Paul Walczak. I'm a local resident, pilot, and a member of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, which has an organization called the Airport Support Network. And the plan is to have a volunteer at each airport from the AOPA to just help monitor things, see what AOPA can help with, and do a lot of legislative work. So when I was offered the chance for that, I just wanted to get involved locally and jumped at the chance. So I'm here just as an observer and local pilot. And I want to make very clear, I'm not a representative of AOPA. They were very clear that I'm a volunteer, not a representative. So in case I don't want to get in trouble on my first day. I just want to get very clear. But yes, I agree. And I will say on the courtesy vehicle, that is something, in general aviation, when you're flight planning, looking ahead to see if the airport you're going to or where you're stopping for fuel has a courtesy car is important, because if we're doing a long cross-country trip, we might have to stop, grab lunch somewhere. If they have a car and go, get some food and come back, that is a decision item for where you're going to stop. So it is a unique situation here. Like Paul said, most airports have private FBOs. They have their own car, so it's not really provided by the local government. But here, it's a unique situation.
I understand having a car would be a little bit easier than an Uber, because let's say someone flies in and want to take advantage of what Michigan City has.
Right.
They want to go to Blue Chip, have a meal, they want to go to Lighthouse Mall. Well, then you've got the Uber takes you there, and you're done, you got to call another Uber. And so I can understand what you're saying.
Sure.
Totally.
All right. Anything else? Anybody else have anything? No? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second motion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.